Hi. Welcome back to the movie break. Movie opens with a shy girl, named Rose Miller, who is late for her meeting. Her boss, who is celebrity fashion designer, named Gunter, embarrasses Rose Miller in front of his staff when Rose shows up late for work. Rose's photographer, Brad Hart, whom Rose have crush on, surprises Rose by asking her to be his date to an after party. Rose is so happy, and she discusses about the date with her model friend Chelsea, whose family raised Rose like a daughter after Rose's parents died. Chelsea helps Rose to pick good outfit for her date. At night, Rose meets Brad. In the party, Rose looks so happy. While in the bathroom, Rose overhears twin models, Bev and Ellie, gossiping that Chelsea is so kind, arrange the date for Rose, out of pity. Chelsea is the one, whom Rose discusses about her date earlier. Rose angrily confronts Chelsea, and tells her, she don't want charity from other. Chelsea tells her it's not charity, and Rose is like family member to her. Rose is not in the mood to listen, and she angrily exits the party. Chelsea follows Rose outside, as Rose hastily leaves the party on her moped. A passing car suddenly strikes Rose. Next, Rose wakes in the hospital. Chelsea is happy to see Rose awake, and calls the doctor. Doctor tells Rose to not try to talk, and he explains that most of her intestine portion is ripped off. Her abdomen has hole, and her jaw is broken. He tries to comfort her by saying, they can fix her body, and they will reconstruct her jaw as well, and she will able to live her best life even with her short organs. Rose writes down on board that, I want to see. Doctor agrees. Nurse removes her dressing, and gives her mirror to see her face. After seeing her damaged face, Rose start crying. Chelsea tries to comfort her. Doctor tells Rose to stay away from mirror for some days, and take a good rest, and then he leaves. After her body and face were horribly disfigured, Rose write down, I am a monster. Chelsea tells her, you are alive, and that is the most important thing, and because of they are working in modeling industry, Rose is now unfit for her job. But Chelsea tell Rose, no matter what happens she will always with her. After discharge from hospital, Chelsea takes Rose to her apartment, and tells her be comfortable, because from now on it's her home too. Then Chelsea leaves to grab some things. Rose removes her dressing, and then makes smoothie for her lunch, and drink it with the help of syringe. An email invitation introduces Rose to the concept of transhumanism, which explores the belief that humanity can evolve beyond its bodily limitations. And they are waiting for response from Rose. Rose subsequently meets with Dr. William Burroughs in the Burroughs Clinic. Dr. William is excited to see Rose, who promises he can regenerate Rose's body through experimental stem cell manipulation. He left them alone to decide if they are ready for procedures or not, and watches them from outside the lab. Rose is scared but eventually agrees for the procedures. Then she undergoes the unusual procedure performed by doctors, wearing unusual red scrub. Brad visits Rose while she is unconscious in recovery. Dr. Burroughs pulls Brad aside for a private conversation. Rose wakes up and finds her face restored to look even more beautiful than before. However, she feels stomach pains from a strange hunger. Later, believing herself to be dreaming, Rose encounters soap opera star Dominic Danvers in the facility's swimming pool. Rose uncontrollably bites Dominic while making out. Next day, Rose tells Burroughs about her strange dream at last night. Burroughs tells her she perfectly okay, and he discharges Rose to go home. Dr. Burroughs gives Rose an assortment of medications and protein mixtures while warning that their side effects may cause vivid hallucinations. After overcome with her newfound confidence, Rose declines a date with Brad, and designs herself a new dress. Chelsea takes Rose out to a club where they pass by their boss, Gunter. Gunter looks so impressed upon seeing Rose's dress, and he invites Rose to collaborate on his new collection. To celebrate Rose's success, Chelsea and Rose go for drinks and dance. Rose picks up a man at the club, and savagely mauls him while making out. Rose wakes in her bed the next morning, assuming the bloody encounter was merely another dream. While shooting a scene for his show, Dominic, the one we see earlier in the pool, suddenly becomes inexplicably aggressive with his co-star, Cindy. Dominic then bites off the face of new actor, Trent, before crew members pull him away. Trent later turns rabid and attacks nurse Dana while recovering in a hospital. Here, Rose collapses from intense stomach pain. Rose realizes something is wrong. When she wakes, she is craving raw meat, and drinks blood from an uncooked steak. Rose follows a good-looking man named Billy on the street. Rose ends up tearing at Billy's throat with her teeth. Rose again wakes in her bed thinking the encounter was a dream. Rose returns to Dr. Burrows to tell him about her strange cravings, stomach pains, and waking dreams. Burrows assures Rose that her violent encounters are only hallucinations. Rose's boss, Gunter, evaluates Rose's new sketches. Gunter selects one of Rose's designs to be the centerpiece of his new collection. Dr. Elliot speaks with Dr. Riley of the CDC about the rabies epidemic spreading throughout the city. Dr. Riley theorizes that the mutated strain traces back to Dominic Danvers, but cannot find a common connection between everyone infected. Upon asking, Rose agrees to a dinner date with Brad. Brad asks Rose about her recent meeting with Dr. Burrows. Suddenly Rose feels something is crawling inside her. While looking in the restaurant's bathroom mirror, Rose sees something moving in her mouth, which causes her to exit abruptly. But before she can leave, however, Billy bursts through the restaurant's window and begins biting patrons. Brad beats Billy to death. Rose exits the hotel in pain, and transforms into a tentacle creature, and kills a man in an alley on her way home. Unable to remember what happened the next day, Brad tells Rose that he took her home. Rose completes her new design. Gunter selects Rose's dress to close his runway show, and chooses Chelsea to model it, much to the delight of both Chelsea and Rose. Due to the spreading rabies epidemic, the CDC declares a state of emergency. Gunter goes on with his fashion show anyway. With pain, Rose collapses outside the venue. Brad knocks out 2 onlookers and brings Rose back inside. One of the men knocked to the ground contorts, mutates, and rises. During the show, a male model feels uneasy and collapses on the runway. Brad suggests Rose going to see Dr. Burrows, but Rose insists on seeing her dress close the show. Chelsea arrives on runway, wearing Rose's designed dress, with blood on her face, and starts attacking other models. Chelsea then jumps on Gunter. Rose wants to stop Chelsea, but Brad holds her tight, and asks going to see Dr. Burrows. People begin transforming as panic spreads. Police arrive at the scene, and gun down Chelsea. Brad brings Rose to Dr. Burrows. Rose worries that she started the viral epidemic. Rose also admits to Dr. Burrows that she stopped taking his medicines because she believed it was blood. Dr. Burrows cryptically infers he can cure death through Rose. Burrows then locks Rose and Brad inside an isolated chamber. Burrows reveals he hired Brad to monitor Rose outside of the clinic, and Brad agreed because Rose's transformation fascinated him as an aspiring photojournalist. Brad counters that he loves Rose, but Rose pushes him away. Dr. Burrows releases blood that pours onto Brad. Burrows tells Rose that her new body is limited only by its need for blood, and that there is a predator inside her longing to be let out. Brad stumbles into a mutated woman with tentacles in a cocoon on the wall. Dr. Burrows reveals that the transformed creature is his wife, Cynthia. Cynthia underwent Burrows' treatment to save her from cancer. However, the procedure also made the cancer immortal, as it mutated Cynthia into something unique. A tentacle sprouts from Rose and attacks Brad. Rose uses a knife to sever the appendage. Burrows instructs Rose to feed on Brad's dying body, but she refuses. Rose instead uses the knife to kill Cynthia. Rose then slashes her own throat to end everything. The news reports that the outbreak was ultimately contained, and all infected subjects were euthanized. Officials did not determine a cause and reclassified the epidemic as the flu. Dr. Burrows prepares a fresh blood protein solution and plate of raw meat that he brings to Rose's chamber. Rose rises to find her neck wound healed. Burrows tells Rose she is immortal as she frantically pounds on the walls in horror. This is all from today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.